point in place where they feel that their taxes are sacred, and their salaries are sacred, and 70% of what they make should go to themselves and their families. I do not want to belabor that point any further because it has been spoken and said here by very many people. But for us, it's about setting a ceiling. Beyond this, government cannot go. We are ready to give you your 20%, 25% if you are more generous.
You've done well so far, trust me. The next one.
Chair, I know that this is a committee that is suffering serious time constraints, so I just wish to address our concerns to just two issues. The first issue is on the limitation of boundaries. And in this, we'll only address the issue of what you can call urban constituencies. And a case in point is Uasin Gishu. So what we want to say is that there is an urban population that is always disenfranchised, or there is voter dilution. And when you talk of Uasin Gishu, you'll know, or you can call it comfortably, a pizza county, where the urban population does not have any representation because the way the county boundaries are existing, they deny them of any solid representation. The other thing that I would like to address is the issue of the protected constituencies. Actually, this is a fallacy, because if you look at these units you call constituencies, they exist within a county. And the so-called protected constituencies, especially in the Mount Kenya region, exist in counties which have the liquid population quota to form the number of constituencies that are currently existing. So if there has to be any border delimitation, then the same should be calibrated to accommodate the same number of constituencies, borrow a ward here, donate a ward there, and you remain with the same number of constituencies. I believe that this committee comprises of literate people, and we have submitted our memorandum, and let me not lead through and donate the rest of the time to my team members. Thank you.
Chair, we have 5 bullet points for the remaining time in order to do justice to the long memorandum that we have done. The first issue, I think that it is fair, would be to start on the issues of the Jubilee Party. Chair, the reason why we are here as representatives of Mount Kenya jurists is that we have heard when Azimio was presenting that Jubilee Party have come before this forum. Instead of coming to speak to the issues that is facing Mount Kenya counties, they have come to say how they are being fought and rebellion caused in their people. This issue is absolutely more important than can be imagined from a constitutional perspective. Because for the first time in our country, Kenya's largest community does not have a political party that can be able to speak on its behalf. The last time, during the colonial time, during the mid-1980s, during the era of President Daniel Arap Moi, when the Kikuyu community was disenfranchised economically and politically, you had serious constitutional crises that occurred. And therefore, as our first point, the issue of purely somebody imagining that you can take Jubilee Party as the last voice that can credibly be able to speak for the people of Mount Kenya is going to have very serious repercussions in view of the fact that the discontent, and I believe you come from the area, that is boiling in central Kenya, and there is nobody to give voice to that discontent, will ultimately be dangerous to this country. And it is a reason that earlier on, you may have an attempt that when discontent boils, young people will start to be called mungiki, and you'll have another round of extrajudicial executions that have occurred previously in this country. That's point one. So it's a damn serious issue, whether we have anybody speaking for us. Issue number 2 is this. The fact that for purposes of having a country, Kenya, when you speak about all these issues that you are talking about, audit of presidential elections and all these other issues, it boils down to one simple issue. And that simple issue is this, that in Kenya we have head of state, commander-in-chief, and head of government. Ultimately, in any country, it is the fidelity of the presidents to the constitutions that avoids this maandamano and ensures the country is being governed competently and to avoid financial collapse that has occurred in Ghana, Sri Lanka, and even Haiti. In saying this, we have this in mind, that if we continue to have the current trajectory, in which, for example, you do an elections in the year on the 9th of August last year. So you are president because of the vote outcome on the 9th of August last year. If on the 9th of August last year, the gazetted elections results was that Azimio Party was a majority, then it is a moment for introspections by the president. On what basis could members have been sponsored to ensure that Kenya Kwanza would get an artificial majority in parliament and to get its own founder member, Honorable Wetangula, declare that that Kenya Kwanza, which was a minority according to the elections, is ultimately the majority in Kenya. It is our submission as Mount Kenya jurist, that if those election results could simply be accepted and respected, it would be possible for this country to be governed on the basis of the actual outcome of the elections. Point number 3, and this is very important for the Mount Kenya people, the issue of resource allocations. The issue of resource allocation, and it touches our heart, that we are yet to see an elected leader from Mount Kenya speaking about this very serious issue. We have had the people dying on queues. We have had the situations where Mount Kenya counties people for bursary are getting 2,000.